Hi, welcome back. Apologies on the delay of this video. If you know, you know. I talked about it on social media. I meant to have this up on Monday, but unfortunately my camera gave out on me and I had to get a new one. So if you're wondering why the image is so crystal clear, I did get a new camera. But in the process of filming my Charlotte Tilbury Beautiful Skin review, I discovered that a lot of the frames were out of focus. So I just thought it was best to refilm, which is what I'm doing here today. And this is me a little like mashup of two foundation reviews. Don't ask me why I'm doing this other than I kind of wanted to, and several people were also asking about the secondary foundation. So I am going to be reviewing Charlotte Tilbury's Beautiful Skin Foundation along with the Nars Light Reflecting Foundation. So I've had the opportunity to try these. This one I've had for over 2 weeks. This one I've had for a week now, and both highly requested to talk about. So I don't want this to drag on. I really want to be clear, concise, and to the point, especially since I am talking about two foundations today. So Charlotte Tilbury's, I was stoked for this. Back in November when she announced that this was coming out, I immediately put my name on the waiting list and did her color matching, which ultimately kind of bit me in the ass because my shade ended up being too dark that I got. But I was very excited for this, and obviously it's marketed as an ultra glowy dewy foundation, and the tagline on the bottle actually says, "For your best healthy looking skin day every day." Now I ended up with a shade 4 neutral. It is too dark. Honestly, it's very similar to number 4 in her Light Wonder foundation. So if you do go off of my skin tone, I would recommend going probably with 2 in or 3 in, because this one is just too dark for me. Now, I test out my foundations in this weird way where on the first day I wear it by itself, nothing else with it. Second day I layer a couple of products on top to see how it does. Third day I kind of go full on with it, wear my powder a little bit heavier than what I generally would do. So on the first day I remember wearing this with 1 pump only, super sheer all over the skin. And I remember just thinking like, yeah, I'm very glowy, you know, not too overboard. But also looking at my skin throughout the day and being like, am I crazy about it? Not really. So let's move into the second day. Second day, I wore 2 pumps and a little bit of cream blush and bronzer. And this is where I really started to see how luminous this product is, how very luminous this product is. So I remember thinking like, okay, I'm gonna set this. Set it, didn't really think anything about it, came back a couple hours later, looked in the mirror and was like, whoa, your girl kind of looks like she just got sprayed in the face with water. So again, retouched, no big deal. And all throughout the days that I've worn this, I want to mention as far as longevity goes, I haven't had any issues with longevity. It's actually worn throughout the day. It's not come off my skin. But just a disclaimer, I never really have problems with foundations wearing off on my skin since I do have dry textured skin anyways. Last day, really built this up, wore quite a bit of powder on it. I wore her Magic Concealer. I did like her Instant Look in a palette. I pretty much did a full face of Charlotte Tilbury, and I will say that day I liked it the best, but I did set it pretty heavily, like almost to where my face was matte. So longevity gets a check mark for me on this application. The formula on this is very interesting. I won't say that it feels thin and lightweight on my face. I just can't say that. And I don't know why, because when you pump it out, it doesn't really like look like a thick foundation, but it is the overall texture that I will say I can feel on my skin. I would say almost every single day that I have worn this with 2 pumps, it is just too much. It is too much, honey. My face, number one, the glow is so real. And I am just gonna go ahead and say, to me, it's not really a glow, it's a wet look on my face, which I cannot get down with, because on I don't have like completely, now this camera, I will say, is doing me a little bit of a favor right now, but you look at my skin close up, and I will show that in the examples, and I have texture, and the way this just ultimately, I wouldn't even say the way it finished, because I don't feel like it sets down at all. It remains very wet looking on my face, which generally wouldn't be a problem, but that brings me to my next point. When foundations are really luminous and really glowy, I just go in with a little bit of actually my Charlotte Tilbury airbrush powder, set my face, and kind of help bring like a balance back to my skin. I can't explain how this breaks through powder, at least on me, which is very unusual because I have dry skin. So you wouldn't think that, you know, like it's not my oils breaking through because my skin never secretes excess oil. So after like 30 minutes of setting my face, I go back to the mirror and I'm like, what's happened? Like my face looks wet. What is happening? So I go in and I actually, in the demo you're going to see, I was wearing 2 layers of her airbrush flawless powder. And then I just went in with Estee Lauder double wear powder because it's a heavier, thicker powder. And I thought, okay, this, you know, this is going to help absorb more. And it still somehow broke through that powder too. What's the saying? A little too much of a good thing isn't always like the best thing. I feel like that's what's happened with this foundation. It has a lot of glow in it and a little bit too much just for my preference. So I like something to be on the middle ground. I don't want it to be overly glowy and I don't want it to be overly matte. And unfortunately, this just was borderline wet looking on my skin. Actually, I filmed a clip after I was applied this one day and was just wearing it around the house and testing it. I walked in the nursery. Will was rocking Max and he said, I don't know, I'm gonna have to put up the video clip because he said, your face looks really shiny or your face looks super glowy. And I had set my face 4 times at that point. And Will never comments on my makeup, like ever. I'm like walking through the house with rainbow smoky eye. I try to do like something fun one day. He'll never say anything about it. But I was wearing this foundation and it did just look so heavily wet on my face after setting. And he was like, your face looks like it's very shiny. And listen, you all know I'm a ride or die when it comes to Charlotte's products. 90% of her products I love, but the Magic Foundation, that was not a winner for me either. And this very much reminds me of Magic Foundation, bumped up on the glowy scale and downgraded in coverage. So if you think of Magic Foundation and you've ever tried that, think of with this foundation, a little less coverage and a lot more luminosity. That's how I would describe this. So I do think I will try to get a little bit of a lighter shade to see if it aids in any way or my feelings towards that foundation, but overall right now it's stagnant. I don't see myself picking it up a lot right now. So let's move into Nars Light Reflecting Foundation. This is the reason also I wanted to talk about this is because this foundation is kind of what I was hoping for in the Charlotte Tilbury formula. So Nars is marketing this as foundation and skincare in one, and I want to read off really quickly why this is supposedly is beneficial in terms of skincare. It says that it has biomedic oat in it, which visibly improves clarity by reducing the appearance of redness. I have a lot of redness going on right now. I think my perioral dermatitis is back, which isn't fun. Japanese lily turf is in it, which supports a strong skin barrier by helping maintain moisture, and then cacao peptides and milk thistle, which minimizes the negative effect of blue light and environmental stressors. So I ended up getting my usual shade in this foundation, which is Salzburg. And unfortunately, the coloring system failed me again because this is way too dark for me. I don't know what happened. I'm Salzburg in like every single Nars foundation, but this particular foundation, it is made way darker. I'm going to put a swatch up of my Nars Air Matte foundation. I think that's what it's called in Salzburg, and this one, and you will see how much darker they are. So I've already reordered a lighter shade, and I just thought, you know, if it's too light for me, at least I can mix it with this one. If you remember Nars All Day Weightless Luminous Foundation, I think that's what it was called, and Nars Sheer Glow, I simply feel like this foundation is if those two had a baby. It's very thin in texture. I don't feel like I need more than 2 pumps. It has medium coverage to it. And like I said, I am wearing it on my skin today. I'm losing a little bit of light right now, but I think you can, you know, pick up on it. And keep in mind, this is, you're going to see when I show the application of this, of course, in like my brand new 4K camera, that it is too dark for me. So this is like just evened out with a little bit of my lighter Nars concealer, just so I could not, you know, be orange on camera, basically. So very thin texture, like I said, medium coverage, and immediately when I put this on, I was like, even with it being slightly too dark for me, I loved the way my skin looked. It's really weird to me because somehow I look at my skin when I'm wearing this foundation and it does have this fresh skincare vibe to it. It looks like fresh face of makeup, but you definitely get some coverage with this. I mean, this is not a sheer coverage product by any means. Of course, if you wanted to wear half a pump, one pump, you could get lighter coverage with it, but it's definitely, I would consider to be a medium coverage like the description says. So application process with this, I've actually just been using like my standard brush to apply it. It's very quick, smooth coverage. Like I said, I get this fresh face vibe from it, but not in a fresh face sense of like a tinted moisturizer, definitely in the sense of I'm getting like my redness covered up. We're getting a nice smooth canvas going. Now, I want to be pretty transparent about the longevity on this. There have been some days where I feel like it's worn perfectly throughout the day, and then there have been some days where I've looked, and I don't know if it's just been like a rough day taking care of my kid, but there have been some days where I look in the mirror and I'm like, could you have held up better? Probably so, but it's definitely not anything like my Charlotte Tilbury one where immediately I was already seeing texture and pores and lines in the face, you know what I mean? So longevity wise, I don't feel like I would be confident enough to put this in the category of let's say my Bare Minerals Bare Pro. I used to rave about that being such a long wear foundation. I mean, you could literally put that on and it would look flawless still by the end of the day. I don't think I would put this one in that category. I think you're definitely gonna see like some wear throughout the day. But like I said, it wasn't anything harsh. Felt offended by when I looked into the mirror. I just think, you know, probably like pretty average longevity with this. So general consensus on the Nars, honestly, DTF. I have been liking it. It has been really what I was hoping for in the Charlotte Tilbury, and no complaints. No complaints with it. I think it looks beautiful on the skin. I mean, today, like, it's freaking 2 shades too dark for me, and I think it still looks really nice on my skin. So honestly, I mean, I think that says a lot. But yeah, that's my thoughts. My hopefully this was quickish for 2 foundation reviews in one. Let me know what you have been thinking about this Charlotte Tilbury foundation, because I'm just in this pool. I literally feel like I'm in a pool when I wear this. My face is the epitome of a wet puddle. So that's where I'm at right now on this. I cannot say I am loving it. I cannot say that sis is hot on my face, but the Nars one, I can. I'm actually very pleased with this one, and I'm excited to get my lighter color in so I can start, you know, matching my hands a little bit better. But yeah, overall, I think that's all I have left to say on these 2 products. Let me know what your experience has been if you've tried either one of them. And I hope that this video will see the light of day. I hope my microphone was on. I hope that I'm in focus. It's, you know, it is a rough thing to adjust to a new piece of technology, but fingers crossed that this worked out. If not, then you'll never see this. This video will literally never make the light of day. So I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see y'all in my next video. Bye.